turning geek speak to street speak. This is Tech Talk with Marc Saltzman on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're enjoying your long weekend. And today we'll be chatting about creating a will and why more of us are turning to the internet to do it. We'll be joined by Michael Karabash. He's a Toronto-based lawyer, and he's got a really interesting new product called the Will-O-Matic. So we're going to learn more about that and how technology can make creating a will easier and less expensive. While it might sound like a somber topic, as the expression goes, there is only two guarantees in life, death and taxes. And I do think you're going to be very interested to learn about online wills and the Will-O-Matic, believe it or not. We have a special guest joining us on the line, Michael Karabash. He is a Toronto-based lawyer and creator of a product called the Will-O-Matic. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Mark, thanks for having me back.
Tell us about the Will-O-Matic.
So, Mark, on our website, www.dynamiclawyers.com, we sell a lot of different legal forms for everyday Canadians, and our latest product is called the Will-O-Matic. It is a very easy-to-use, comprehensive, and flexible will creation software. It's the most advanced thing on the market, and it is quite affordable for everyday Canadians, so there's absolutely no excuse for anybody not to have their wills done.
So because you are a lawyer and this was drafted, I'm assuming you drafted this or in part created this tool, that it's completely legally binding and as good as something you would get at your lawyer, except you're paying for a lot less.
It's a loaded question, Mark. So I'll break it down into two parts. I get asked a lot, is this thing legally binding? And I will say, if it's entered into properly, because there's always, issues that could be raised later on. Did the person have enough mental capacity? Were they pressured? Did they understand what they were doing? Mm-hmm. Those things could be used later on to challenge the will. But if a person like your listener is tech savvy enough to go through the will, has a fairly straightforward situation, follows the instructions which we provide on how to properly execute the will, and in those situations, I would say yes, the will would be legally binding in court. And to answer the second part of your question, is it as good as what a lawyer will produce? You got to compare apples to apples. What you're getting is a comprehensive will with lots of options, lots of flexibility at a very affordable price with lots of guidance. Okay, you ask a lawyer to do the same thing, you're going to be charged a lot of money. We're talking $400, $500, $600 for what we're selling these days for about $24. And I would guess that what lawyers throughout Canada are providing, it won't be the same product. It won't be as comprehensive. It won't be as clearly drafted. It won't have those options. So I think actually what we are offering is better than what a lot of lawyers will offer.
And you said it's only $24?
Yep. On our website, it sells for $110, but over the coming weeks, we're doing a special promo through various daily deal websites in Canada. Mm-hmm. So if you're registered for those types of websites, you'll see a promo for our Will-O-Matic software for $24 a piece.
What happens if you need to amend the will? You change your mind a year or so down the road. Is there an additional cost to updating it?
After you have completed the will, you've got a year to update it for free. After that, there'll be a nominal fee, $5 or $10, something like that.
Okay. So walk us through the process. We're talking with Michael Karabash. He is a Toronto-based lawyer and creator of the Will-O-Matic product, an online will creation tool. So walk us through the process, because I think a lot of our listeners, they may not be that technically savvy. They may be concerned that it's too technical for them to fill out. Is it sort of like a wizard, like a questionnaire?
Absolutely. We made wills as simple as possible. And I'll give you a quick example. In the will itself, 9 out of 10 wills will say something like, I want to distribute the residue of my estate equally among my issue per stirpes. So we're not going to ask you in the questionnaire, how would you like to distribute the residue of your estate? Do you want it done per stirpes? We just say, do you want the leftover assets of your property to go to your children? Yes or no. If you select yes, there's another sub-option. It says, well, if one of your child passes away before you, do you want their share to be given to their children? And so that, we've simplified the legal mumbo-jumbo, which is very useful in the actual will itself, but not so useful when you're going through the questionnaire. So that's one of many examples of how we've created this very simple-to-use online questionnaire, asks you a lot of different questions, gets you thinking about things, and the end result is a really clear, comprehensive, well-drafted will.
How long does the process take on average? I recognize there may be different situations.
I've asked that myself to a lot of our customers, and they say it was a breeze. Less than 15 minutes is the typical answer.
And once it's completed online, do you print it? What do you need to do to ensure that you hand it to your family lawyer? What do you do once it's done?
Yeah, there's a lot of misconception. What do you do with the will? Do I have to go get it notarized? Do I deposit it somewhere? The typical thing that you do with your will is you print it out, you sign it in front of two witnesses. There are some rules concerning who is a competent witness. You shouldn't have a beneficiary, someone benefiting under your will as a witness, and you shouldn't have their spouse as your witness. So assuming that you've signed it in front of the two witnesses, you'll then take it, put it in a safe place. We recommend a fireproof box, and let the person who is administering your estate when you pass away know and have access to your will. There is no requirement for a lawyer to be involved, to keep it for you. It's not recommended you stick it in a safety deposit box where only you have access to it, because, that's going to create problems.
If you have a question for Michael Karabash, the lawyer who created the Will-O-Matic system, you can give us a call. You've got him for free. You don't hear that often, free and lawyer in the same sentence.
Canada's top tech expert turns geek speak to street speak. Tech Talk with Marc Saltzman on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Rather than spending many hundreds of dollars to create a will through your lawyer, you can do it online with a product called the Will-O-Matic. It's a Toronto-based product. We've got Michael Karabash on the line. He's a lawyer who created Will-O-Matic. It's usually $110, which is already discounted heavily compared to seeing your own lawyer. But for a limited time, Michael's offering it for $24 for the next couple of months. Is that right?
That's absolutely right, yes.
So you, just like you're doing your taxes online, you do Will-O-Matic online. You enter your basic information, your name, address, marital status, children. Then you name your will executor. Then you describe how you'd like your assets to be distributed. Then you can download and print and sign the document, and it's good to go, legally binding. And that does apply for Quebec, for the Quebec market. Is that right, Michael?
Yes, we do offer the Quebec market an English version of the will.
Okay, so it's only in English, but it is legally binding in the province of Quebec.
When you say legally binding, we try as much as possible to make sure that it won't be challenged, but there's certain things outside our control. What we can do is make sure that it's based on provincial laws. So in the case of Quebec, we have gone through all those laws. We've adapted our template will to suit those laws. We've even thrown in a free guide. It's like an e-book that you get. It's close to 30 pages that tells you, here are all the laws about wills in Quebec you should know when you're drafting or executing your will. And those things, we hope, at the end of the day, will make your will more valid than not.
Great. We've got a caller. Arlene is on the line. Hi, Arlene. Thanks for calling Tech Talk.
Hi, thank you so much. Fabulous show.
Thank you.
I have a question. We have a will with a notary, and we're in Quebec. We wanted to change something in our will. We wanted to take someone out that we had put in there. To do that, we have to go through, see him again, spend a couple of $100 each of us. Now, because we have that will, if we wanted to make an update to that will with your will, can we do that?
Typically, with our system, it revokes previous wills, and that's just because you want a clean slate from any previous wills that may be lingering out there. So our will revoke previous wills.
Oh, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Also, I was told that should we want to make a codicil to the will, that would be apparently a bit of a problem, because once it goes to court, it can really make things that much more complicated.
In Canada, a codicil is just a legal document that people would use to make a minor amendment or change to an already existing will. And what you have to realize is that it has to follow all the requirements of entering into a normal will, which means it has to be signed in front of witnesses, there can't be any pressure, and those things. And if you're making a minor change, a codicil might be the right thing to do, but if you're doing, widespread changes, it's probably better to just start from scratch.
So we can do that with you guys.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Arlene.
Okay.
Michael Karabash is our guest. Michael, what's the website for Will-O-Matic?
It's www.dynamiclawyers.com.
So simply dynamiclawyers.com. You offer other products and services, so they'll see where the will portion is, and they can get going. Do they need to download something first? Is it software, or do they do it all online?
All online. They can save their answers as they go. They don't have to do it in one shot. They can come back, sign in, and just continue. Once they're done, they can edit and update their will for free for the first year, and there's a nominal charge after that.
Canadians are getting used to filing their taxes online. They're getting used to shopping online, banking online. Do you get a sense that we are ready to start using it for legal documents, like creating a will? Are we getting more comfortable at entering this information and then printing it out? Doing it ourselves, if you will, DIY.
Oh, I absolutely see it. It's just more convenient. You don't have to take time off work to go see a lawyer. You're not spending the hundreds or perhaps thousands of dollars to get a high-quality document. And there's a general misconception out there that wills should be prepared by a lawyer and will be expensive. And there was just a few weeks ago that the Chief Justice of Canada said, our justice system has failed thousands of Canadians who don't have a legal will, simply because they don't have the money to hire a lawyer to draft one, or are so afraid that what it will cost will bankrupt them. That's what she said.
When we return, I want to ask you, Michael, about how Will-O-Matic differs from other online will creation tools. We'll be right back with more Tech Talk.
Whether you're shopping around or looking for the on button, he can help. Tech Talk with Marc Saltzman on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Michael Karabash is our guest. He's a Toronto-based lawyer and creator of a product called the Will-O-Matic. You can create a will online for as low as $24. Michael's joining us on the line from the Toronto area. Now, Michael, I wanted to ask you how your product differs from other online will creation tools.
Well, I'm a bit biased because I created it, but I think that the typical Canadian should look at these factors when looking for online will providers. Is it easy to use? Is it prepared by a lawyer? Is it comprehensive and flexible? Is it updated when the laws change? Does it come with a lot of guidance? Is it based on provincial laws? Does the will that is ultimately produced, is it clear and comprehensive? And can you update it after the fact? And all of those things for dynamiclawyers.com's Will-O-Matic is yes.
At a low price, no less.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Michael. If you didn't get your questions answered and you had any follow-up questions about Will-O-Matic or Dynamic Lawyers, you can go to dynamiclawyers.com, send Michael Karabash an email, and I know he's excellent at getting back to you. Michael, thank you very much for your time.